welcome to We'd Rather Be Reading. I'm Jerrica.
And I'm Lia.
So this week we have so much to talk about. We have Pestilence on our mind, and we've been talking about it back and forth together and with our husbands, who are less interested in us talking about it, but that is why we have this pod.
Exactly, because if we had to talk about this with only our husbands, then we would be poop out of luck. As you say, I was literally told, this is really stupid, why are you doing this, when I tried to talk about it earlier. So I'm happy you're here, and I'm happy we're talking about this, because I have a lot of things to say.
Me too. And also, we have over 1,000 followers on Twitter now. Famous!
Yay, so famous! So famous. And I just introduced you to one of the best songs so far.
Exactly.
Ever.
And you know, on this music theme, since we've been talking about the books that we read last week, and I read this elf book.
Yes.
A little backstory, it is set 1,000 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
So Ragnarok happens.
Yes.
End of the world happens, and then 1,000 years from now. And they still listen to the music that has stood in time, right? So, anyways, there are some humans that come back to life 1,000 years later, and they start to make technology work again, and a song comes on the radio, and the girl, and this is at the very end of the book, the girl and her mate and everything at the end, they have conquered all of the things, and you know what song comes on the radio? Chumbawamba. I get knocked down, I get up again, and she's like, listen to the lyrics, this is us, baby. This is me and you.
Honestly,
we get knocked down and we get back up again.
Love Chumbawamba. And you know what the title of that song is, right?
What?
Thumping or something like that. It has the weirdest title. It is hilarious.
But it was so clever, so funny, and I knew you would appreciate the reference too.
Yes, I do. I think I like music references in books. I think it's good when they're not too...
recent?
No, it's just too contemporary in a way. Like, I kind of prefer it if there's like someone who listens more to classic songs and stuff like that. Not classical music, but like throwbacks and stuff like that. Because I find that a book gets dated very fast. It's all the top charts, because those are usually not the songs that kind of last. It's
when we read the afterbook, of course, now we know that it was about Harry Styles, but they reference Watermelon Sugar like often.
No, that was not in that book.
Yeah.
No, Watermelon Sugar is referenced in the Crave and Crush books.
Oh.
Yeah, it's that one when she listens to Harry Styles and she's got a massive... It's her Grace, her inner monologue.
Oh, that's right,
I am just saying here... I am 2 for 2 now on freaking remembering stuff.
Wow,
have you noticed?
Look at your memory. I
remember stuff
seriously
about,
attributed it to after. You're right.
The Rhapsodic. I remembered stuff about that, and this week I'm remembering stuff.
Wow.
I am.
These ones are sticking to you. I like it. It's happening.
So
Leah's coming back to life.
It turns out I remember stuff. Yay!
And I am so excited to share with you guys the Name That Noise game we're going to play today, because this book, this elf book that I was talking about, the narrator is amazing. So we have to guess 4 noises and guess what it comes from. Should we play the game first?
We should play the game first. I am ready. I have rehearsed. No, actually, but we can talk about this a bit later, because the book we've chosen about for this week, that narrator also did, like she did the noise of the bells. Blah, blang, blah, blah. And I was like, frick, okay, we're doing that now? Cool. So I feel like I'm prepared a little bit.
You are prepared. Okay, good.
A tiny bit.
Okay, let me get to the first one. We're in track 13, and we have How Much Left of It? Dum dum dum. 531. Okay, ready? What noise is that?
I don't know. That sounds like a...
Do you need it again?
Yes, I do. I need it again. Give it to me, please. Alright.
Can you imagine listening to 3 books, and then only in the 3rd one does she come up with these amazing noises?
I feel like this is a seasick elephant.
Okay, it is not an elephant. Keep guessing.
Oh god, but that was my only guess. It sounds like someone's very nauseous.
Nausea?
Yeah.
Nope.
No?
Nope. It is a thing. It is a supernatural creature.
That's gotta be the sound of a mermaid.
No. It is a mountain troll. You didn't get troll from that?
No. I am perplexed by this noise now.
Okay.
That's not how I would have pictured a mountain troll. I find that I would have had them more gravelly, like rocks grating on rocks. Like I love those kind of descriptions of sound, whereas like his voice was like sandpaper on rocks, and you can really get like an idea of what it sounds like. But this, seasick elephant was really...
That was your guess.
That was mine.
No, you were wrong. Next one. It is a little bit within the same realm here. Mm-hmm. Ready for it?
Yep, I'm ready. I mean, it is a troll because she just said "scream the troll," but I would have gotten cow from that.
Beluga.
Yeah, a beluga.
A beluga. It sounds like a beluga. It is not a beluga. Okay, so we move away from the trolls now. Okay. We move on to chapter 16.
Mm-hmm. I am failing miserably at this game so far, so I'm gonna get the next one. Have to
you are
dig deep and think hard. Am I looking for a creature or for a situation?
This is a creature. This is a creature.
Okay. It's a creature.
43 seconds left. Mm-hmm. Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. What is this noise?
The sound reverberated in the...
Do you need it again?
Oh my god. No, I got it. This is a baby dragon.
It is not.
What? It's a phoenix bird.
It is not.
What? Then it is, because it sounds like a cock-a-doodle-doo, like... Cock-a-chee-chee-chee. It's gotta be, I can't. A dodo bird? I don't know.
It is a...
What is it?
Squirrel.
What?
It is a
They
squirrel.
don't sound like
okay,
that.
but it's like a god squirrel that lives in the bottom of
Okay, because in Canada, the squirrels in the park are very aggressive. The little grey ones, the big freaking ass grey ones. Did you know that there's a massive difference between squirrels in Sweden and in Canada? In Sweden, they're like teeny tiny, cute and brown red, and they're sweet and they don't steal your stuff. In Canada, they're like big and grey like rats, and they will steal your children's snacks from the stroller in the park.
Yeah. They're quite evil.
Oh yes.
But they're city.
But they don't
squirrels.
make that. They make like that kind of noise.
Okay. Not cock-a-chee-chee-chee.
No, it's more of a chittering kind of
Okay, this is our final noise.
Is this also a creature?
This is also a creature.
Okay.
Prepare yourself for it.
I am prepared.
So you're gonna
Giant eagle!
It is a giant eagle! Okay, but
no clue. Okay. Well,
that was Name That Noise. And this narrator, I should actually name her out of impressiveness, and that is Amanda Dolan, and this book is called Shadow Empress by C. N. Crawford. Fun fact about C. N. Crawford, they are two people.
Uh-huh.
A C is a C, and an N is an N, and one is a man and one is a woman, and they together write many, many books. And this is a fantastic series. I really like it. The Night Elves trilogy.
All right.
Narrator makes some hell of a noises.
Yes, I am impressed. Very impressed.
Also shocking.
And slightly shocked. I'm very confused about some of these noises. Yeah. So...
Now we move on to our book of the week.
So we read Pestilence by Laura Thalassa.
Yes.
And this is the first book in a 4-book series where the 4th one is not out yet, and it follows the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Right.
And the first one is all about pestilence, which is, I would say, war, famine, death are all better names than freaking pestilence, because pestilence is the worst name ever.
It was tough to get on board with the fact that Okay, but first of all, she wants him to have a different name. She's like, please, can I call you something else?
And I mean, he does rename himself, spoiler,
Very,
at the
very,
end,
very
like,
at the end.
Very, very at the end. So this book, we had some predictions going on beforehand, and I am extremely freaking proud to say
you were so good at this today. Nailed it.
So I predicted that Sarah, there would be nothing special about her. I predicted there would be some kind of bond. There was no bond, but it was a hand of God pushed them together.
Soulmate thing.
And the whole idea was that he believed that humans were beyond redemption, and she was there to show him that we humans were not beyond redemption, which happened in the end. This relationship, I mean, when we left off last week, he was dead. He was shot in the face and burned to bits. And then he wakes up from death and he decides that he's going to kill her. But when he looks at her tent where she's sleeping, there's like this light reflection on the tent that shows out the symbol in the holy language for mercy. So he ends up not killing her, just, taking her as his prisoner and then torturing her by making her run after his horse. And then when she cannot run anymore, she's dragged after his horse. He is not nice to her. He shoots her in the back a couple of times with arrows when she tries to run away from her.
Yeah.
And he literally drags her behind his horse until her clothes are like shredded and her arm has popped out of his socket, and it's...
And he says things like you've ruined the world, you're the filth of the world, and then, you all deserve to die for ruining this blessed earth that God gave you. He keeps saying,
I'm keeping you as my prisoner to make you suffer. It's the whole purpose of it. And still, whenever she looks at him, she's all like, oh, he's so hot. Which I'm just saying, like, if someone treated me like that, I feel like I personally wouldn't, regardless of how beautiful it is, I feel like the beauty would have been destroyed by the actions in a way. Like, just because someone's pretty, I wouldn't be like, oh, he's so hot, but it's okay that he's dragging me behind this horse because he's so hot. Like, I wouldn't, it would take a bit more for me, I think. So I am feeling a little bit like she is suffering from Stockholm syndrome here, because she...
Full-blown Stockholm syndrome.
She starts, like, rooting for her captor. And, she starts caring for him. And then when he invariably... someone tries to kill him pretty much wherever he goes, she will try to protect him and she will heal him back to strength and all of this and that. Even though she gets more hurt. Like, he throws her off his horse at one point.
Yeah.
And then when she runs and he like snatches her up and he's all upset that she ran.
He gets very hot and cold about her also, though. But
Yeah.
the relationship is quite toxic, and it's very much Stockholm Syndrome based. But for those who haven't read along with us this week, I have a super summary. Are you ready? It's
I am
very
ready.
Short.
I'm ready.
Sarah from Whistler.
Sarah Burns, firefighter.
Really
from
Whistler.
That last name and firefighter.
The basicest bitch you could find on the planet in Canada.
Yeah.
Runs into or meets Pestilence, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and she basically rock, paper, scissors who's gonna kill him. The other firefighters are like, oh, draw a straw. No, Sarah, it's your turn. So Sarah tries to kill Pestilence. Anyways, he doesn't die because he's a horseman of the apocalypse. He takes her as his captor, and along the way they teach each other morality and lessons of life, love, and religion.
Yes, pretty much. But he takes her as his captive. No.
Captor.
He becomes her captor.
Right.
Right, yes.
She's
the captive.
Yes.
Yes, and he's the captor.
Nevertheless, she's captured by him.
She is captured, and she continues to be captured by him, heart and soul and love and all of it as she goes along, I would say.
She is a horny 21-year-old. I have to say that because her hormones are off the charts. This girl's obviously in ovulation period. Like, she is
the
in
whole
heat.
Time.
Because no matter what he does, in the second he turns back to her and gives her like a tiny bit of a smile, a good look.
In his
Yes, I was going to say the eyes. Then she's like, all right, fine, I'll take my shirt off. But of course, that they don't have sex until quite later in the book.
Yeah, because he is, I mean, basically he's not human. He's like a creature, an agent of God, if you want. So he doesn't need sleep. He doesn't need to eat. He doesn't need to have feelings for anyone or need closeness to anyone or anything like that. He needs nothing. That's, our basic needs as human. But then she starts like, here, drink this. And then he starts drinking stuff. He starts eating the food. And then he starts liking to sleep next to her because, well, it's nice to cuddle. And he's apparently very good at cuddling. She says so many times. And then when they finally do kiss and sleep together, I mean, I like that part because it's so funny because she's like, he has no chill. He's not going to be chill about this at all. No. So they slept together and he's all like, let's get married. And then when he finds out that she's had sex with other people before him, and he's all like, how dare you just give
But don't you think it was a
like
bit
that?
of a twist that Pestilence was a virgin?
I didn't think so, honestly, because the way he was described in the book the whole way along is that he has never interacted with humans. Because he just goes in, they try to kill him, he kills them all, and then he keeps moving. So he's never actually, I don't think he's ever even talked to a person before. Like, I kind of get the feeling that he's been so removed from humans and humanity that I'm not surprised that he was a virgin. And let's talk about the section scenes here, because we got everything we hoped out of this book. It was
we were so excited. I was so excited when I messaged you and you weren't at the party, and I was like, she did it!
And
Laura Thalassa did it again.
Spoiling this book for me.
You did not let us down.
No.
From the Bargainer series, we got so much missionary that it is an inside joke between us from now to the day we die.
Of course.
And we are so excited that in Pestilence we got exactly that. One time they were sitting in
there's a thing. We got missionary. Every single section scene is missionary with eye contact. And at one point,
contact was super important.
And at one point I actually thought we were going to get her on top. So I had to highlight it. And she's on top, she's straddling him, they're kissing, and then he hooks his arm around her and flips her over, leaving her to gaze up at him. And I'm
because there is no other way to have sex than missionary sex.
And then what happened in this book, which I'm going to have to complain a little bit about this actually, even though I hate to complain about this book because I love these
books. It was awesome.
But I have to complain a little bit about it because it is the same thing as the other book that we read, which was the Campus Player.
Yeah.
Where the guy turns out to be a virgin.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like setting us up for some reverse sex education here where the girl will teach him stuff. And then the guy turns out to know shit anyways. And we had the same in this because he actually goes down on her at one point. And he seems to be very kind of intuitive. He just kind of knows what to do. Yeah. And she seems to be like, whoa, I had no idea we could do these things. And why does this feel so good?
Yeah.
And back to this. This is troubling to me.
Lia has concerns.
I have concerns.
You have concerns about men needing to teach women how they're able to be pleased. That's your concern.
Exactly. I have so much concern.
Because what you want in a book is for the girl to be like, hey, listen, guys do it wrong. You guys don't even try to know. Here's what you should know.
I mean, yes, but also if you're gonna sleep with someone who's never had sex before, I'm guessing that the person who has had sex before could maybe do a little bit of pointers, like, look, if you do this, it's gonna feel good for me, or if you do this, it's gonna feel good for you, or look, let me show you this. This is a cool thing we can do. Yeah. But always, so far in these two books that I'm referencing now, Pestilence and The Campus Players by
Jennifer
Suchevich. Yes. It's the same thing. The guys are supposedly virgins, but still they will teach the girls stuff.
Because they're both, of course, Pestilence a little bit more, but they're both alpha males, and so they feel like they can do all of the things. And so I think it's also a little bit about their egos. Like, now that I've had intercourse with her, I know what her vagina looks like. I'm going to go down on her and please her.
Yeah. Anyways, it's
okay
that,
for me. It's okay for me. But it's not that realistic. But then again, a Horseman of the Apocalypse coming into real life and meeting Sarah Burns from Vancouver is not that realistic.
Oh my God, no. Honestly, no.
Longest sentence in my life.
And it was like, why her? And I kept asking this all along. Why her? Why her? And like, I like that every other person in this book was also like, but why her? Like the prophet that comes with three girls and is like, look, save our lives and I'll give you these 3 chicks. And Pesta's like, why would I want them? And he's like,
Because
better than this version.
You have basic bitch Sarah on. You can get rid of Sarah now if you want. But I loved Sarah's inner monologue. I actually really liked her as a character, even though I keep calling her basic bitch. I really like her because in the beginning, I mean, all her inner monologue is a little bit like what the fuckish. And the same way Callie was in The Bargainer, I really like her voice also. But when Sarah talks about how much she's like into, but not so sure why she's into Pestilence, she says, she just said, he looks innocent, yet has a healthy kill rate. It's like, you know, I know that he's killing the world, but he has a tiny bit of a look of innocence, so there's some hope there. So maybe it'll be okay if I sleep with him. Like, she gives herself all of these, like, but maybes.
But I mean, I liked Sarah as well, honestly, and I think I liked Sarah more than Pestilence. I could not really get behind Pestilence. He was not a character that I feel like I would have... I wasn't rooting really for them like that because he was too self-righteous and I may have said this before, but I have issues with religion, and it's all religions really, because I feel that it's usually used as an excuse for all sorts of behavior.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I'm more of a you should choose your reasons and you should stand by them, not say God's will.
And Pestilence was quite...
And Pestilence was very much like that. And it does bring up a lot of the religious stuff, obviously, these being biblical characters. And then back to my conversation with my husband, I was like, well, she named his horse, and she names the horse Trixie Skills. And my husband's like, but they have names. It's in the Bible. And the horses actually have names.
Okay.
So this feels like maybe I didn't look this up. I'm just going to assume my husband was right on this. Because he tends to be right on these kinds of things. He has a Catholic upbringing.
That's right.
Whereas my religious upbringing is non-existent. But I also found a continuity thing in this.
Ooh.
I want to say it. Tell me. It's at one point where Pestilence has had a shower. He showers a lot. And he comes in to the kitchen with his bare feet splashing into the puddle of melted ice as he peers into the fridge. And then, he hasn't left the kitchen. A little bit later, he sits back on his seat, slinging one booted foot over his other knee. And I'm like, when did he put his shoes on?
In between.
But he didn't leave the room. He was there the whole time. Uh-huh. So just saying, caught it.
Could not get nothing gets past Leah. Nothing gets past you. But the banter after they had sex where he's like, and now we will create a child. I don't know if I will create a godchild or if I will create a human child. If I create a human child, maybe I will need to kill it because it's human and I'm killing humans on Earth.
Yeah.
And she's like, whoa, dude. We had sex one time. And I really like her banter that goes out loud to him and also that's in her head. It made me laugh out loud. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, when they get in their big fight and he denounces his crown and she runs away.
Yep.
That was like real creepy when he comes back to the door after months and
but
says,
before this,
P.S. I've been following you this whole time.
But before she leaves, this was also a thing because she's been shot and she's recuperating. And during this time where she's recuperating from being shot, and she basically made death give her back because she was technically dead there for a bit. She even met death. She does. And then she comes back and she's recuperating in this mansion and Pestilence is there. And while she's recuperating, he sends out this extremely long range wave of the plague, like his disease, and he's infecting people like much further away than she thought. And this makes her very, very upset. And then when they're talking about it, she doesn't watch TV. She decides she wants to leave, so she tries to leave, and she calls him Love. As this, like, you can't have left on my side all those times only to curse a good portion of North America. And she says, please, Pestilence, please, Love, stop this. And then she goes into this inner monologue about how a name is not a name, and she chooses to call him Love only for this, so that he will take back this, like this,
and identify a little bit with humanity.
Yeah, but I'm not explaining myself well here. I hear it in my own head that it sounds rambly. But I just found that the way she uses love, it's like she uses it like a weapon when she's doing it. Mm-hmm. Because she's been holding on for it. She's been feeling in love with him for a while. She's slept with him. She's been with him. She's chosen to save him. She's done all of these things. But she only chooses to call him love when she can get him to do something she wants him to do. And then he doesn't. Or he does, but he doesn't tell her. And then that's when she leaves after long enough. But it's like, I show him that he's more than his namesake. I haven't been brave enough to do so until now because there's nothing to fear anymore.
Okay.
I don't know, I just felt like it was so manipulative, that part, that she would hold it until it's like, now I want you to do something for me, so I'm going to call you love, instead of just it being given freely.
Yeah, and I think the parting was quite, okay, well, you guys have been staying together through a lot of other shit, and now you're saying, I've been feeling for a while that things aren't working out. Like, have you really? Because you just called him love, like 1 second ago.
Yeah.
So anyways, he leaves, and then he's been following her the whole time.
She leaves, and he follows her in distance, and she just goes right back to his...
She goes back to normal life. Yeah, she sees her friends and family, the ones that have lived through it.
She works.
She works. She gets her own apartment.
She drinks bad wine.
Bad wine, has a bath. Yeah. And he knocks on the door, and she's like...
so like, oh, great, you're here. Let's be together forever.
And he's like, oh, I've always been here. I've been following you in the shadows the whole time. She's like, but what about the horse? And he's like look outside.
Trixie Skills is right here.
She's just right outside. And she's
the horse is a boy, first off, and she should call him Trixie Skills.
Okay.
He's like, my steed is a male. Yeah, well, I mean... I would definitely read the next 3 books in this series. Not right away, but I will read them. Maybe we'll, come back and put them in the pod with some intervals here going forward. That's probably going to be the thing, because we can talk about these books for forever. But I have to say, I prefer the Bargainer series to this.
And I was hoping there would be more than just a romance story. And yes, some morals and lessons were learned. And I really enjoyed the characters and the story as a whole. But I missed all of the twists and turns that happened in Bargainer. But of course, you can't ask an author to write the exact same book again.
No.
So I am happy that we read this book and that it was different from the Bargainer. Bargainer is still my top fave, but I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely. I mean, Bargainer all the freaking way. But Pestilence, I have higher hope for the other ones.
Okay. Next is War.
Yeah. And I think War can be sexy in a way that Plague cannot.
True. The Plague is the least sexiest.
Famine, I think, is pretty awful as well.
Oh, no, that's true.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, it's hard to romanticize the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
But she's doing an okay job.
Yes.
I mean, she makes them really hot, so that works.
Yeah, if you like blondes.
Ooh, and I do.
But I don't, so this is even harder for me. I think this is part of... And also, like, when she met Death there, when she was almost dying, and he has wings and long black hair, and I'm like, ooh, she should stay with him.
Dad, hey, how you doing?
And his name is Thanatos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a good name. He's got black hair, he's got wings. I'm like, she should stay dead to be with him.
Yeah. You could be like, oh, wait, I'm gonna go with this brother.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, look, Pestilence really saw something in me, so you probably will too.
Yeah. And then it turns into a reverse harem book.
And then she can have all the horsemen of
all the horsemen. And they're gone, so they're not
Then she's going to have to live with a stable somewhere, so the horses can be taken care of. It's going to be great.
It sounds like an amazing life.
And I mean, clearly they have kids, because in the epilogue in the end, she wades through children's toys. So clearly her and Pestilence have children. But I honestly, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that, because of his whole, maybe I'll have to kill my kids.
Yeah.
So in a way, it would have been interesting to know, are these children human, or are they like
maybe we'll see it in the next books.
Or are there, maybe, but
there will be references, I'm sure.
I'm hoping
I hope so too.
High hopes. So we're going to return to this book at some point in the future, so stay tuned.
And this next book
next book is by Tamsin Muir. And it's Gideon the Ninth. And
we're switching it up here now.
We are. And Gideon is a girl. And we've told you before that we have a book club. And I got to choose the book for the book club this month. So I chose Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. And in this book, The Glass Hotel, there's a girl named Vincent. So I'm reading 2 books currently with the theme of girls with boys' names.
Nice.
Yes.
I don't mind it, although I was shocked that Gideon was a girl. And I wrote to you, oh shit, Gideon's a girl. I read reviews on this book before choosing this book.
That was the first thing I read in the review, because I read reviews as well.
I completely skipped over the she part, and I just assumed that it was a he.
So, we're going to start by judging this book by its cover. And the cover is... There's got to be Gideon here, walking, in this black outfit with a belt and a sword and a glove. And the face is painted to look like a skull, and there's some red hair going on.
And knives and swords. And
there's a bunch of skeleton parts flying to the sides here. So we know it's going to be about deathy stuff.
Yeah, it definitely looks like underworld death. A little Halloween-y.
Yeah. And we read about the first 3 chapters in this book, and I actually started reading, and then I started listening, and then I got so confused that I actually switched to reading and then listened and read. So I actually read the first 3 chapters twice, because I listened to them and then I read them.
I agree with that. I'm on chapter 5 now, and I think I'm going to switch to reading it, because listening to it in the narrator who has a British voice.
Well, I didn't mind that at all. It wasn't the voice. It was more that there were so many characters, and there were situations that I felt like I needed them spelled out to me in a way.
Yeah.
To understand what was going on. I don't mind the voice at all. I thought
that the voice was a tiny bit monotone to the characters. I wasn't sure who she was referencing when she was referencing both Gideon and the other fighter.
But so basically this book starts with Gideon waking up in her cell in the House of Ninth. And she is unlocking her cuff, leaving it on her pillow together with the key, and escaping basically. She has managed to secure a shuttle that's going to come in 2 hours. And she's making her way to the landing point. She checks that there's nothing hidden in the landing point. She kicks apart all the piles of dirt and whatnots, and it's fine. And when she eats some breakfast, and when it's about 45 minutes before this shuttle is coming, a guy shows up. And he is Crux. And Crux' claim to fame is that he is worse looking than the dead, even though he's actually still alive.
Okay.
And in this House of Nine, it seems that half of the people there are dead, and the other half seems to be alive. And Crux is not impressed by her attempted escape, like, at all. He's like, come back, stop this. And then he does the best threats ever, which is, come back and I will. And she's like, look, when you threaten someone, it's come here or I will. He's like, no, come back and I will blacken your eyes and smash your head. And she's like, wow, you are terrible at this negotiating business. And then he's saying that the Lady of the Ninth has asked her to stay. And then the Lady of the Ninth shows up. And this is Harrowhark. Right. And she's 17 years old. Her parents are dead. But only very few people know that they're dead. Because she has reanimated their bodies in some kind of preserved mummy business. And she is... she's moving them like a puppet master kind of thing. Yeah. And Harrow comes up. She's like, look, you can't run away. There's stuff happening. You have to come back. And she's like, no, I'm leaving. You cannot force me to stay, says Gideon. And Harrow's like, well, I'll make you a deal. Look, I'll sign this piece of paper that's going to make you basically free, because Gideon is an indentured. She's not a slave, but she's indentured to the House of Ninth. And she wants to join the army, which is the thing. But Harrow will sign a paper that lets her do officer training in the military, which would basically purchase out her indenture in 5 years rather than 30. So it's a good deal. And she says, I'll fight you. And if I win this fight, you stay here and go to this meeting that we're about to have now, because shit's going down. And then you can leave with a piece of paper. Or if you win, you can leave right now with a piece of paper. So they fight. And Harrow turns out that she is very good at manipulating skeletons. She's a skeleton maker, so all she had to do was bury some bones around the area, which Gideon had missed on her little search, and she can call up, and every bone will create a full skeleton. Regardless, it doesn't have to be buried a full skeleton, it just needs to be one bone, but the whole skeleton will assemble. Cool. So when Gideon tries to beat her, she gets drowned by, or like she says, gangbanged by skeletons, is the actual phrase in the book. So then she has to go to this meeting where Hera reads a letter saying that she's been summoned to do a trial to become a Lycor of the Emperor who sleeps. And the Emperor who sleeps has been doing so for 10,000 years, and it's time that they replace the Lycors. So she's going to do it, and she wants Gideon to stay. It's very unclear why she wants her to stay. That I'm not sure. Seems to be mostly to punish her. She says she hates her a lot. Like, Hera's like, I hate you. I really hate you.
Yeah.
And Gideon's like, you are so evil, you're not doing this out of kindness. You would make the nuns eat each other if it pleased you. And she's like, yeah,
that sounds good.
So this is what happens in the first 3 chapters. So lots of things happening, but hard to say what's going to happen next.
No, so hard.
Yes.
I feel like it's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of battling. And I think her and Harrowhawk will be either a team or completely nemesis against each other, but I'm not so sure yet. I don't predict any romance or any democracy or any thruppling in this book.
I'm predicting romance. Okay, so the shuttle that Gideon had ordered, it also gets stolen by the Cavalier who was supposed to go with Harrow for this trial, for the Lycor thing. Mm-hmm. So I am guessing... My guess is that Harrow wants Gideon to stay because Harrow cannot just leave the house on 9th since her parents are dead and she's puppet mastering them. So if she were to leave, this would make for a very weird kind of situation here if she's not there to puppet master her parents. But I'm not sure how or, how this plays in. But I feel like this is a situation that's going to play a part in it, but I might be wrong. And I'm guessing that Gideon will make it out of the 9th.
Yeah.
And that there's going to be a bunch of fighting. And I'm thinking also some romance. And this is mostly because I read that this is a gay romantic story. So some lesbian love going on here.
Nice.
Which she's already talked about because she has these dirty magazines with nice kitties. She does say that in the beginning.
That's true.
But I am very unsure how this is going to work. Because where are they living in the 9th? There seems to be her and Harrow, which are the only young people, and then the rest seems to be like 1,000,000-year-old nuns or like ancient caretaker, like staff or skeletons.
Or skeletons, yeah. There's a lot of necromancy going to happen, and it has a little Coraline vibe, like a little dark shades of all the things. So... we got to read it and just see what happens.
Yeah, we've got to because I can't guess. So, let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Thanks for listening, everybody.
You. Have a good day. Bye.
See ya.
We'd Rather Be Reading is an original podcast by Jerrica and Lia. The music for The Penguins, written and performed by David Allred from the album The Transition, courtesy of Erased Tapes. Please check him out on Spotify and check us out on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at We'd Rather Be Reading and on Twitter at We'd Rather Read. You can also email us at we'dratherbereadingthepod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.